Hi, everyone, and welcome to Talk About It Tuesday with This is Improv. My name is Angelica Zadak, and this is our guest, Stephanie Ponce-Facio.
Hello, everyone. So happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have someone so famous, so lovely, so wonderful, so perfect as you here on our show today.
Compliments.
You deserve all the compliments.
Wow, my agent did very well.
Yeah, they gave us a list of things to say. We haven't even touched half of them yet.
Oh, wow, that writer is pretty packed.
Yeah, it was. We were kind of bewildered when we got a whole book worth of material. Yeah, it was a lot, but
it took time. And, I was like, you know what? We're going with it.
So Stephanie, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves to take out half the work of the book?
No problem.
Okay, thank you.
I guess this will be the Cliff Note version.
The clip, like sparkle, yeah.
So yeah, I am Stephanie. I am a arts lover. I was a dancer for many years. I'm still very much involved in the art world wherever I can, volunteering, helping out in whatever way that I can, whether it be showing up, whether it be giving notes. I've worked in the arts for a very long time. I have some tips and tricks in there. I've also choreographed. I presented in national conferences. I also have a background in psychology, graduated from Nova Southeastern University. So I connected the two, which I know seems odd, but we will talk about that very soon. Why I think that's very important, bring those two worlds together. And so, yeah, now here in the times that we live in right now, sharing and caring as much as I can with people like you.
How did you get started? How did your career in or passion for what you do start?
Yeah, you can take this all the way back to the beginning.
All the way back to land.
All the way back.
Yes.
In 1872. No, we won't go that. We won't do the Hamilton.
Death is a Vampire. You heard it here first.
Dance became a part of my life. Actually, started when I was very small because as a toddler, my legs were turning in like this.
Mm-hmm.
Became a problem. So parents took me to the chiropractor, doctors or whatever. And of course they suggested surgery. My parents were absolutely not. We're not going to do surgery. So I kept going to the chiropractor and he has suggested to my parents I start taking ballet classes for the turnout. So that way I would practice turning out my feet. And my hips out. So that's how it started. And from that point on, they were in trouble. Because then I loved it. So I started in ballet. And then it kind of just like took off from there. I've been dancing ever since then. I kept going along, did it all through high school. I even competed a little bit, convinced my mom to get me in a jazz class. Because it was like, no, you have to be proper. And I was like, other kids are in jazz. I won't take jazz class.
That's a fun stuff, Mom.
Not knowing what it was. Of course, so that was a huge takeoff for me. And then I have very fond memories of watching PBS with my grandfather when I was little. I would put on musicals sometimes on the weekends. My favorite movie is Singing in the Rain.
Oh yeah.
My favorite, and I think that's what like took it off for me as well. I love that movie. I still watch that movie anytime I need just a little pick me up, a little energy, a little reminder of what I love to do, when see that inspiration again to get filled up and all the warm fuzzy feelings again. That's always been my go-to. So yes, anything Gene Kelly I love. Started dancing, went all the way through high school. I did have surgery on my ankle for a brief bit. That was okay. I made it to point. I competed for a while, and that was very fun. Then I decided I wanted to take even more ballet classes. So I convinced the studio owner to let me teach. And to assist in the preschool classes in exchange for more ballet classes and more muscle classes. So that was a great help because, you know, when you want more and your parents are like, I don't know how much we can do more, I somehow
Yeah.
convinced her to let me, which I'm ever so grateful for because it just pushed my passion even more. And of course, you know, going through all the things that you do in high school, it was such a great help because it just created like that nice little balance. I
Yeah.
went to school and then you go through all, you know, all the changes that one goes through, whether it be through friends or just what your body is physically going through. And then the great escape and passion and drive was always getting to go to class and getting ready. And it was always a ritual because getting changed and dressed and doing your hair or, you know, even doing just a little bit of makeup, I think always helped me. And of course, music, because music is such a big part of it. So listening to music and going to my classes was, I think, the best thing I could have done for myself. Growing up, it was absolutely beautiful when I went change it for the world. But graduated, went on to Nova, enrolled into their dance and psychology program, and continued dancing all the way through. I choreographed, I traveled with them, which was a great experience. We presented work at the school, we presented work away. We were recognized for our work. Some pieces I did were just myself, and some pieces were, you know, a co-collaboration, which is always wonderful because two minds coming together, I think, to create movement is always better, especially when you're setting it on yourself. I think.
Yeah.
Yes, wonderful. And that was a great experience because it's so different from, I guess, dance studio life. Because then, like, you're grown up and you're moving on to like a university set level where things tend to be more avant garde, a lot more modern. More organic, groundy movement and a lot of different type of movement that I wasn't used to. So college was definitely a great exposure. I got to go to all different kinds of master classes that I would have not gone when I was 15, 16 years old. But luckily I had the right people pushing me in the right direction and just said, yeah, just go. Just go do it. It became like, who cares? You don't know the people anyway. So if you make a fool of yourself, it doesn't matter. Just try it out.
Yeah, isn't that like the nicest thing anyone can say to you? Like, hey, don't worry, you can fail.
Don't worry. Definitely.
It's an experience.
Definitely, especially with so many years of doing ballet and that it's so defined, right? You know what ballet looks like as soon as you see it.
Yeah.
Or most people can identify with it. You know, those really clean, straight lines. And there's a certain physique, right? You have this certain mold. And then going to college, it was like, whoa, breaking every mold. And it was like, actually, this is the other side of the dance world.
Yeah, I've seen Black Swan, and I don't think that it's conducive to a lot of Black Swan scared me. Yeah.
See, but it's not that scary. There's always are intense things. I will say that after working with a professional ballet company for quite a few years, that most of the stereotypes are true. It's not like with every dancer, every ballerina, but I would say, yeah, I mean, it's rigorous. Some people are in that competition because there's so many contracts, only so many principals that they can assign, only so many leads that they can assign. So yeah, it's important to take very care of yourself. Self-care is very important in the arts, I think. Yes, because sadly we see the trend that we take it out on ourselves, or somehow we think that there needs to be some type of abuse on ourselves, because if we're not doing a certain thing, then we're not going to be able to be creative. We're not be able to produce any work. I won't be able to dance as hard. I won't be able to act as well. I won't be able to write as well. So yeah, a lot of self-care is needed. So the stereotypes or the things that you hear about the dance world, I can say, yes, sadly, they are true. But I think there is now this shift within recent years that has pushed more. Dancers are now encouraged to take care of themselves more mentally. I've seen it. I've seen psychologists on staff, nutritionists on staff, uh, um, physical therapists on staff, doctors on staff. So I think that is helping out more than what people saw in Black Swan. It's
That's
also
really cool. Yeah. Wow.
but yes,
That
but there is
not
there
real anymore. Okay.
movie super hard. I don't know for other dancers, but myself watching a movie about dance is always so hard. I don't know if I'm the only one, but like I still haven't seen La La Land because I just saw snippets and already my mind went through like,
Yeah.
or, yeah, it just goes through a list. I guess it sometimes gets hard to not catch all the things that
Yeah.
your eye looks for.
I had a conversation with a few people about that. Like, how do you separate? Can you ever turn off that inner critic? And it's not always, a critic like, oh, they're doing it wrong, but you're constantly working as you're watching a film related to what you do or a show related to what you do.
It's always there, especially when you've been taught to write critique papers, where you've been writing those critique papers for so long, and then you're like, no, you can't. Yeah, it's super hard to turn it off. Every performance I go to or used to go to, or anything that I watch via Zoom now, and especially dance movies, the recent ones, it is challenging for me to turn it off, I will say.
And it's so crazy because you're talking about the the older movies, and it's crazy to think, it's an evolution from vaudevillian acts, right, into film, into like they're taking these people who were who were used to doing everything on stage and were trained, and then they were training them further. Like, you cannot have a contract with us unless you can do XY, until you can dance, you can sing, you can act. Yeah, exactly. And then you get something like Dancing in the Rain, which is just beautiful. And in addition, all these other films where you have dancers, I mean, even Lucille Ball was trained in dancing and singing, and then she picked up comedy from working on I Love Lucy, which is crazy to think, and I don't know, the world has changed.
Definitely has changed.
Yeah.
And not that I'm for actors not being put in dancing roles. I do think that dance could be in some way, shape, or form for everybody. Movement, I think, is so important in life, but at the same time, it's just so sad to see when there are amazing Broadway stars that could be in the lead, or other kids that are waiting in line that have been training for that for so long, but because they're not X, Y, and Z already within the film industry, then it's not really looked at, which I think is sad. Or even commercials, when they're casting commercials and they have girls are dancing on point and they're not dancers. It's like, but we have trained dancers for this. That commercial could have been 10 times better, usually using actual dancers, especially if you're filming in New York. We're around.
Yeah, I wonder what that's about then. Like, I wonder what the cutoff is.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it because they are available. Just go down to American Theater Ballet or Steps of Broadway, or there's plenty of dancers there. New York City Ballet. And not that, like I said, not that anyone shouldn't try dance, or not that an actor is not capable, but we have them. We have them, right? So why not use them to their best ability?
Is there anything that you've seen recently where the dancing has been good, whether it be a show, like something live in the before times, or something on TV that you've seen with dancers that are, apparent, like they're being seen and they're being heard?
So, Steven Spielberg was filming the new version of West Side Story.
Okay.
And that has really, really, really good, like phenomenal dancing with amazing dancers that I'm so lucky to be friends with. Be like, remember me before you filmed with Steven Spielberg? But it's choreographed by Justin Peck, who was a dancer or is a dancer for New York City Ballet. He was actually a co-director for some time as they were looking for a new artistic director. He is brilliant. I think he is going to be the new Balanchine, dare I say it? But I think he's going to be he's the it factor. Now, not only does he bring in his own dancers from the community, of all different communities. First of all, diversity, right? That's great.
Wonderful.
But he also has this beautiful mesh of the old world with the new world, where ballet doesn't have to be, or dance doesn't have to be what it was before. It can evolve and push. New work can come out. The old work is still great, and we have that, and it has a tremendous legacy. But I think he's now going to be the new legacy. He's going to be the person who is now going to, my kids, when they, hopefully, if they ever take dance class, dance history, it's going to be Justin in the books, I think.
That's incredible.
I've been saying it for years, but now it's out and official. So,
this is it.
Yes, I think he is it. The movement is beautiful and striking and pushes a boundary. Even the music, if you ever get a chance. I mean, I think New York City Ballet has now their new season online this year. So I know they did the end, I think, of last year, and they're planning to do it again this year. And I think there is new work. So if you ever have a chance to see it. I think it's beautiful from where, it's pushing us into, I think, a new era of dance, and I think it should be recognized.
Well, I am not a dancer at all. I am clumsy. The movement that I do is bumping into things or bumping into myself. How does that work? I don't know, but it happens. So,
but it could be a piece. It could be a piece. That's the beauty of it. There's actually a piece by Pina Bausch where she's on stage. It's in a set of a cafe, and she's bumping into the tables and chairs.
Wow.
That's the piece.
Guys, I can dance.
It's on YouTube. Go find it. You can bump into chairs. I promise. Done it out there. Yes, all types of things. We're weird on this side too.
What is your favorite thing that you've done that you worked on?
My favorite thing.
Your favorite thing. It could be a few different things, but anything that's left an emotional impact, something that is memorable for you.
And I think because sometimes it's not even just the movement that's impactful, but it's the people that you work with is impactful. Yeah. And having that chemistry with a person, and it doesn't have to be that type of chemistry.
I know.
Doesn't go there. A lot of people do. It doesn't, I promise you. Men and women can dance together, and it is okay. Men and men can dance together, it's okay. But there are just like moments in life where I think on stage that I've had the pleasure of working with people where it just works. The timing just works, especially with if you have a partner and you have a lot of partnering work or things that you're doing together within a piece. I was in a, it wasn't actually a duet. There was actually 3 gentlemen on stage with me, and it was on a bench. The piece was called Benched, and there was just something about it that just made it flow. The way we just hung out, talked, ran rehearsal. It was just so easy. It felt right. The movement felt right. Every time I did it, it felt like a great run. I always wanted to do more. It's like, I get to dance this again, which is such a great feeling, because not every dance is your favorite dance, and that's okay. That's completely fine. Just like every role is not your favorite role because you didn't get the role that you wanted, things like that. But that piece, I was just so happy every time I got to run it. The music was by Gregory Porter. It was choreographed by Dr. Tatachi Egwu, who's on Mediascope Wednesday nights. Small plug. She's great. She's like an arts guru. She's done it all. She's done every medium of art, and now runs her own media platform of like women in tech.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. She can paint, she can dance, she can choreograph, she can play instruments. She's a one-woman show. She's fantastic. Anywho, I had the great pleasure of working with her, and I absolutely loved that piece. Just a nice flow, easy, just felt good.
Yeah.
Felt really, really nice. So that piece stood out to me. I did do a piece with Marina. Do you remember Marina?
No.
So Marina and I, for, composition class or choreography class? Can't remember. You know the song Feeling Hot, Hot, Hot?
Yeah.
That was my favorite song growing up. We had to come up with, I think it's by Arrow. Anywho, pretty jammy song.
Mm-hmm.
We had to create something fast for an assignment. I think it had to be like 2 or 3 minutes.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how the song popped up back into my head, but we did it. And it was so much fun to choreograph. I think that was one of the best, I guess, co-creating, collaborating. We had such a great time. We were laughing our butts off while doing this. And we're like, it's like, well, we're either going to pass or we're going to fail.
We're going to have fun. Yeah.
But we had so much fun. So yes, so we danced to Feeling Hot, 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 and it was all about 2 girls set in a party scene where one girl didn't want to get up and dance at the party because the other girl was like, well, this is my song. Mm-hmm. We're going to dance to my song. The story behind it. So of course, my song. And then Marina was just like on a chair, not caring. And then I was the character that came along. It was like, no, like we have to get up. We have to get up. This is the song. This is our song. She's fighting me the whole piece. I'm like trying to move her arm, her leg, trying to make her dance with me. I'm trying to take her out of the chair. So yes, a bit of musical theater in it, I guess, or dance theater in it. It was so great. And by the end of it, she was dancing with me. But we even did like lifts at the end. It was a great time. And showing it, everyone was laughing. I was like, oh, thank God. I'm like, everyone gets it. It works. They got it. It works. But yes, I would say those 2 out of the ones I created as I was leaving NSU, those were the best. Work-wise, I loved working with Dr. Millie Figueredo. I was at Miami City Ballet. That was life-changing for me, I think. She is the mother of Patricia and Jeanette Delgado, who were formerly principal dancers with Miami City Ballet.
Oh, wow.
They were my favorites growing up. So every Nutcracker season or whenever my parents could take me to go see the ballet, I was just going through the program like, when are they dancing? When are they dancing? And when I started at Miami City Ballet and saw them in the hallway, I was starstruck. I was fangirling.
Of course.
I was like, oh my gosh. Like I was so small watching them. And then now I'm like, oh, I loved you growing up. Anywho, and then I found out that their mother is a psychologist for the school. And I was working for the school. So like, wow. So then I got to work with her mom, who is a psychologist for Miami City Ballet School, or was when I was there. And that was just an incredible experience because she got it. She absolutely got it. And was there to help the dancers and knew what it was about because she raised 2 dancers. So she knew all the things that one goes through and the trials and tribulations and, happy tears, sad tears, injuries, which is very common in the dance world. It could make or break you wherever you want to go. And then you have to decide, like, is this worth it? Because I'm going to physically break down, or do we try another style of movement and then keep going in that direction and be able to build longevity out of your body and take care of yourself and keep going and, fulfilling fulfilling your bucket, your love bucket, for not only for the arts but for yourself.
A love bucket. That's really cool. Yeah.
Right? Because we do something, I think first for ourselves, because it's our passion. And of course, what feeds that passion even more is when people love it and they want to see more and they get excited for you. They want to hear about it. They show up to your shows. They'll show up on a Friday night. They'll pay for that pay stub happily. And then you just want to do more. You want to do more. You want to do more. So it was absolutely life-changing because I got, as I said, I also have a bachelor's in psychology. And so talking to her was just, it feels so right.
Yeah, bringing everything together.
Yes, it's like full circle. It was wonderful. And she helped out a lot. She set up the whole Nutcracker. And when it came to like the children dancers or the school part, all the kids that were performing in Nutcracker, she helped set up everything. And I was her assistant in that part. So we got to bond and talk, and I learned so much, from her, being that she's a psychologist, but she's also a mother whose children started when they were babies at the school and then grew up and became such, great dancers and became principal dancers. And now they're in West Side Story, Steven Spielberg.
Oh, wow.
They're in it. They're in it. I would say those are my top three. Those two performances, and then getting to work with Dr. Millie Figueredo. It was amazing.
It's absolutely incredible. Hear how everything, connects. Each experience almost connects to the other experience in some way. It's like a building blocks, I guess. We tend to look at these experiences separately, but it all comes together to make this awesome story, this awesome life. How do you use what you've learned from the arts in your life? Do you find that you use it?
I think the biggest part of the arts for me is humanity.
Okay.
Having that emotional chip built you, or at least that's the way that I feel, or my experience within the arts, because you create, or people tend to create of something that has happened to them. There tends to be a story, a driving force behind their work, and they, and all the more reason why they take it so personal. We take it. Criticism is not easy, because most of the work is super personal. You're writing it, you stayed up, you sacrifice time with your family, you haven't been working out, and all the more reason to love yourself and really take care of yourself and harvest your craft. You got to nurture it, and nurture yourself all at the same time. But I think because there is so much emotional components to it. So I think that's the big piece, because in anywhere that I have gone through life, or other artists that I have spoken to, I think there tends to be more empathy. They'll listen, they'll understand, they'll want to hear your story, because they might have a similar experience or story, and then you have that connection, which is one thing I love about dance. Because as much as we all get up and dance or take class or whatever, also within certain classes or certain settings, or even just before or after class, you sit there, you're warming up, and you get to know people and talk with them, and they share their stories and where did they go to school with, and then you don't know who they know, and then all of a sudden now you're dancing in the room together.
Yeah.
Right. Now you're learning how to or at least for myself, now you're caring for that person within the space, because you're sharing that space, or you're touching each other. Crazy now in these times.
Yes.
But we touch each other a lot, right? A lot of partner work, especially in ballet or in the modern world as well. Contact improv, that's contact.
Yeah. What? No.
You are moving throughout the space, you're touching each other, you're encouraged to make those connections even though they're completely silent. So I think that's the big thing that I've carried out all throughout, is having that compassion, that empathy, that emotional component. It keeps me open to other things and keeps me very receptive to other things. So like there's certain topics, movies or documentaries that I know I can't watch. I know I can't watch. And I think, because some stuff is created to shed light on the situation and to create, to draw out that emotion from people, to make them like, well, this is really important because all these things are happening, and this is of great importance. Where I think dance has taught me already about those important things, or makes me more sensitive to those things. Because if I sit and watch a documentary, I'm crying from the moment it starts playing to the moment it ends.
Because you know what's coming. Yeah.
Because I know what's coming, because you already have tons of references in your head, and then you're already crying. So that's what's happened for me, which I'm grateful for. Extremely grateful for that. I don't need something, well, knock on wood, I don't need something horrible and big to happen to understand, like, hey, we need to prevent this from happening. Hey, this is of great significance. I'm very sensitive to those things.
Yeah, artists are emotionally into, which is incredible. Sometimes it's hard, but sometimes it's great, and we do feel that connection to humanity. I think that's an awesome answer, because I've been talking to a few people, and we all seem to have that same idea that we feel lucky. Sometimes it's tolling, but it's a cool feeling to know that you are connected to these other people on this higher level almost, or on this different level than if you ever were to experience or be in the arts. So that's really cool.
Extremely cool. Hey, I'm so thankful for it. If it's one thing that the arts has taught me, it is that. It's like you have like this little beacon. It goes the beep beep beeps, and just being spatially aware of things. I'm super aware of my surroundings, which is awesome, right? Because you never know what situation you might be into. So safety, you never know. But yeah, reading the room, definitely. I mean, whether it's acting or dancing, you definitely know when you walk into a room. It's taught you to pull out your feelers. You can feel it. You can feel it, and it's great. And you can use it every day. Work, not work, family, whatever it might be. I think it's just been such a great tool, and it helps me always, be a better human.
So what is one thing about you that no one would be able to tell about you just by looking at you?
I think that most people, or the perception is that, oh, she did ballet for so many years, she was involved in, she danced for so long, she's still involved with the arts, that it's all pretty art.
Okay, that makes sense. Keep going.
And not the other side. So as I keep bringing up ballet, right? Beautiful, stunning, impeccable, great costumes, lots of funding, lots of during the day. So, and then there is this other side that I think people wouldn't think, that, like, Steph, really? But even when music, heavy metal, I listen to heavy metal. I don't think people would think Steph listens to heavy metal. Yeah, I do. I also listen to jazz. I also listen to classical. I love classical music as it is. Most times when I'm home, it's not the radio music that most people listen to, or participating in different types of movement shows that is not, I guess, mainstream dancing. There's a lot of dance theater out there, and smaller, unknown choreographers, here in South Florida. So whenever I get a chance to show up, I do. It's sometimes in a warehouse.
Yeah.
And I don't know where in Miami, but I will show up. Sometimes there's people screaming on stage. Sometimes there's a drag queen. So I think, which I think is important, is there's like this balance, and not just stuck to one form of dance. But yeah, I think most people think like I'm only one side of it, or that my perception of arts is only the nice, big, pretty stuff that everyone sees. There's also this other side, which is not popular, non-mainstream. It's in your face, will make you cry. It usually touches upon very rough subjects. It could be, queer art, or things that touch upon Black Lives Matter, things like that. I love that side too, and I think it's just as important as the stuff that gets all the funding. But I like to also pay attention to people that are just now creating their stories and their journey through art. That part I love as well, even though people might think it's absolutely disgusting, because I'm into what is art.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also have that side to me as well. It's not just all the pretty stuff. I also like the stuff that people won't even give a chance. I love to give what most people think is, I don't want to say ugly, but
I think that's
distasteful, or not as popular, things like that.
I think the idea of something being ugly is such a beautiful statement in a way, because we are ugly. You know what I mean? Like me bumping into chairs, that could be considered ugly, but then you find the beauty in that.
Exactly
what you're showing or what statement you're trying to make, and I think that's so cool. That's
a great example. The bumping chairs, exactly. So I get it, and it's fine. I think most people would say, well, it's just an old lady on stage running and bumping into chairs. Like, what does this have to do with anything?
Mm-hmm.
And then my mind is like, this has to do with everything.
This is live. You don't see it.
You don't see it. Yes. So the bumping into chairs, I think, is absolutely beautiful. And I think it's just as important as, people who want to go to Nutcracker every year. Is Nutcracker great? Sure. It's there every year. But there's also this whole other side that I think is just so important, that I think what has helped reinstill over and over, all the stuff that we were just talking about being someone who has empathy and shows humanity to another person, because I've watched those things, because I've seen those pieces, and having exposure to those things, I think, has just helped me push it further, that there is somehow beauty, even though everyone else might think it's ugly, and it can be ugly too. I worked with a choreographer, Pioneer Winter. He still does great work here in Miami. He had, I think it's Pioneer Collective. He also helps with the Miami Light Project, and also Screen Dance Miami, because now they're trying to film more stuff and make it more not theatrical, but they're creating more dance films down here in Miami, which is beautiful. But that work is also, not that. So which is great. So he used to tell us all the time in rehearsal, he's like, why are you worried about being so pretty? He would bring it up all the time. Because of course you work with mirrors most of the time. There are mirrors in the room. Of course, to help observe yourself, corrections, you can self-correct, see where your lines are. People say, why are you worried about looking so pretty? It's like, this is not meant to be pretty. It's meant to be ugly. You need to be ugly. So that was, I think, great.
Yeah.
Because in the world of, is my hair okay? I think that was great. And there's also a dance company called Bachiva, one of my favorites. Ohan is the artistic director, and he works with no mirrors.
Oh, wow.
None. Zero. And he says, because it just messes up the art, just messes up the movement, it ruins everything. I was like, genius. And it's the same thing, because he wanted to take the pretty out of it. His work is not pretty. It's of real things that has happened through his life. He created a whole movement, as we were talking earlier, dancers that face an injury and have to transition, and you're thinking about, like, what do I do now? How do I create, be able to move, but not destroy myself all at the same time. He did that, had the back injury, created what's called Gaga, movement, not to be confused with Lady Gaga, but we love Lady Gaga as well. So he developed this method so he can continue dancing, and it's so beautiful. And so yes, his work is all about the ugly side. There's lots of movement there that people are like, are they wrong? Is something wrong with them? They're dancing in silence. Did the music not go on at the right time? Like, what's going on? His work does all of that, and many others as well. But yeah, it doesn't have to be all pretty. Yeah.
Steph, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Virtual hugs, right?
Virtual hugs, yeah.
Can't wait till I can touch somebody again.
Right?
Someone hug me. Someone touch my body.
So thank you, Stephanie, for joining us today. This has been Talk About It Tuesday. Thank you for joining us. And while you're still here, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so that you get this every Tuesday with awesome guests like Stephanie, the wonderful, the absolutely perfect, awesome, wonderful book worth buying. Here's your book. Buy the book. Thank you for watching. Below, we have some information about things going on in the community and ways that you can help. If you have anything that you'd like to add, please contact us at info@thisisimprov.com, and we'll add it to the list so people can help you guys out. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alexandra.
And I'm Angelica.
And this is
Legends of Yesterday,
where we talk about histories, mysteries, and ghost stories of South Florida.
And well, the only she's trapped there, so it's like a purgatory kind of hell.
What is around us then? It's really made Davie such a special place.